We're on.
Oh, okay.
All right. What's up, everybody? Welcome another episode of the Entrepreneurial Web. Welcoming back to the show, Parviziy.
I don't.
How do you say your last name again?
Mukhamadkulov.
Yeah, that one. He's Khabib's second cousins, stepsisters.
From the fourth wife.
Yes.
Of his
half
uncle.
brothers, once removed, fourth cousin.
Right.
So he has some fight in him. He knows the hustle.
I have no fight in me.
Grow up. I disagree. We're going to find out more about that fight here. If you will notice any issues with the audio, please let us know. I'm using the Yeti today, taking a little derivation from what I usually do because we have to capture both of our beautiful voices. So it's happy anniversary.
Oh yeah, it's been two wonderful years. Cheers.
He's doubling down here, coffee and wine. I'm just sticking to the wine.
Well, that was good.
Sparkling.
That's
what happens when it's sparkling wine.
Like Logan said, sparkling wine.
You can shame me all you want. I'm still gonna kick that ass. Anyways, he was on the show 2 years ago last week. We had just met. He had just opened his first coffee shop, which happened to be, or second. Sorry. What was that, like July of 2020?
No, it was August
of 2020.
Second we opened.
Yeah, so like hardcore pandemic in Brooklyn. Everything was like in big shutdown mode. Restaurants could seat outside for maybe like 2 weeks at that point. So we were just coming out of like the delivery only, takeout only zone. Could still do cocktails to go then. We can do them again now, but they shut us down for a little bit. And since then, you have opened 7 more locations coming out of a pandemic. So this is a juicy story. We want to hear all the dirt. You were pretty conservative on your first show.
That's why you're feeding me wine, right?
Of course, you know it.
You went the laundry.
You're really good up until like glass number 8. After that, it starts to like not make sense.
That's when I go home usually.
No, you go home around 12. So there's like that 4-drink period hanging out at the bar where it gets very interesting. He starts talking about how he wants to bear Elon Musk's next child, and
no, I like Elon Musk. I don't know why he's having so much of them, but
I mean, if I had that much money, bro, I would just lay the seed everywhere. I would just sprinkle it. I would be like a sprinkler, like in the suburbs when you walk by. That's what I would do.
That's one of the reasons why I don't want to do it, because I don't want so many people know how I sprinkle.
Because you don't have that much money.
My sprinkles to be private.
I know you want that much money, but yeah, it's like if you have it.
I don't want to have that much drama that he has, to be honest with you. Because I think most of the drama that he has is just like he brings upon himself. I think he's a drama queen. I still like him.
He's watching. You know that? He follows me on Twitter, bro.
Watching. He's busy making kids as we speak.
So let's start off that way, since is a good topic. What started your fascination, your obsession, let's say, of Elon?
I thought we were going to talk about coffee.
We're talking about jiu-jitsu. That's all we're going to talk about.
Again?
Where's Logan?
I have enough. I have enough of jiu-jitsu talk. Like every fucking time I come here, you guys are like, I don't know. I wish I was passionate about anything like you are passionate about jiu-jitsu and tasting other men's sweat.
It's so good.
It is good.
Yeah, just like expanding the palate, you want to be able to talk intelligently about wine, about coffee, the nuances of Ethiopia versus Guatemala. It's just another level
what
of
else you
testing.
I don't know. I'm not. I don't like fighting. like two people fighting. I'm not a big fan of it.
And why? This is a show about fighting, so it's good to open this can of
You
worms.
can fight for your spot under the sun. I can understand that if somebody's blocking your sun, but like willingly paying money every day, waking up at 6 a.m. and going tasting other men's sweat, I think it's too much for me.
It's like heaven. It's like Eden.
I know.
For me.
For you.
Why do you not like to fight? Where are you from?
I'm from Uzbekistan.
Did you guys fight?
A lot.
A lot.
Yes.
Told you, he's Khabib's third cousins.
No, in Uzbekistan, we have this weird culture. Even in middle school, I was in middle school. Like, we don't have like middle school and all that. We're not fancy. We just have school. And we are lucky that we have that. Just school until like 11.
It doesn't matter if you're 4 or you're 18, you learn the same shit.
Yeah. And if, for example, my school was, if somebody from the other school falls in love with a girl that's in my school and they come to my school, now we have to fight.
Oh, yeah. That's like Bensonhurst back in the day.
And then we don't have to fight just to fight. We have to fight just to like fucking die. Like we are ready to die. I had fights with like metal pipes and stuff. 7th grade.
You were like the Warriors.
No, that's stupid.
Well, it was like New York in the 70s.
Yeah, were you there?
No, I was in Nashville.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were.
How was Nashville in the 70s?
We were tipping cows and listening to country music. We fought with our fist, mano a mano.
No. And then all that, I had enough. And now that I look back, I think like there could be like times that police would arrest us. Now, one thing about Uzbekistan is pretty much everybody immigrated. Like all the parents immigrate, kids stay with the grandparents, and then they send them money, and then the whole life happens there. My mom didn't immigrate. My father passed away, but I told everyone that my mom is gone. So no one can call your parents to school. I had a free ticket to do anything that I want. And it's not like, I thought it was fun at the time, but it's not. Now that I look back.
Sounds fun.
See? No. I'm for the peace.
For the peace. But your climb to the top here in New York City
I just got visa. It's not the top. Not yet.
I'm just calling it. You've peaked out. It's all downhill. You're on the show with the local Joe Rogan. It's over.
This is it. This is it. I can go die now.
I hope you enjoyed it. Yeah. Once you make it here, that's all.
If I die without tasting any other man's sweat in my life, I think I'll consider myself successful.
You need to taste Logan's sweat and my sweat.
No.
At least
you guys taste each other's sweats. I'm fine. I'm not sure if I want to watch it.
You've offered prize money to watch. Whatever.
I want to see
it. Should at least.
It's gonna be funny though.
It should at least drop in your ear. It would be funny.
It will be funny. It will be funny. I would watch. We'll do.
That'll be our next live broadcast. Logan is a white belt. He's a very big white belt. He's tall. He's bigger than me.
I will commentate. Like I'll talk. This is gonna be fun.
Whenever I beat that ass. When did you move to the States?
August, coincidentally, of 2006.
This August?
Yeah.
Just moved here.
This one just 16 years before. No, I had there was exchange program. It's not really exchange from Uzbekistan because like nobody wants to go to Uzbekistan. People usually want to come this way.
We send donkeys and we get people.
No.
Sheep.
Let's not go there. Let's not go there. So I was part of the exchange program. I studied in high school in Texas for a year, for senior year. It was fun. Then I moved back to New York. I don't know why I say back, but I always wanted to live in New York. I like New York.
Yeah, I know that feeling.
A lot of people do same this here, so it's fun.
Oh boy, it's getting spicy. I like it. Where's that wine? It's right there.
It's a good wine.
I told you guys, up to like glass number 8, it's like profound.
We're at glass number 2 right now.
And then there's the tipping point. And it's only 1:20 in the afternoon.
Yeah. Sunday. Sunday's day.
When did you realize that you wanted to work for yourself? Like, was this a seed planted back at home, or was this something you realized when you came here, or was it just like this is what it was going to be from the beginning? There was no thought process.
I think it's a mix of everything. My father was a businessman. He was one of the first. I think he had the first private company opened in post-Soviet Samarkand. Samarkand is my town. So he opened the first corporation.
That's fucking massive.
Yeah.
It's a big deal.
Yeah. But
for all of you.
I think what happened with Uzbekistan was for the first good 10 to 15 years, officially it was not part of the Soviet Union, but all the habits stayed. So it was the Soviet Union, but it was a little messy. But I wanted to be a lawyer, coincidentally, or accidentally.
I could see you being a good lawyer.
Yeah. But then I realized there's so much work.
Yeah. I got to go to school for like 12 years.
Yeah, and then I was like, no, fuck that shit. I don't want to. I tried. I went to school for some time, but it didn't work. And then I worked for a company that would fix washing machines. And then I was a good technician. I knew how to work. I knew how to solve problems. The problem was that my boss at the time would work with his wife.
Let me ask you something.
Yeah.
Do you know how to make coffee?
Yes. All the time.
Did you just learn?
Last time we spoke, I didn't. Now I know. I know how to drink coffee. I think it's important. I know. No, wait.
You definitely have the drinking thing down.
Yes, it's settled. No, I know how to make coffee now, and I know how to drink coffee. I can tell when coffee is good and when coffee is bad.
Carry on with your story.
Now I forgot.
You were talking about being a good technician.
Yeah, and then he would work with his wife, and then every time they would just have fights all the time. And I was like, this is not something I want to be. I don't like drama. Do you know drama?
I know drama. I know about fighting with your wife. I know about working with your wife.
With my wife?
No, with my wife.
Oh, okay.
Because I work with her often. It can get dicey.
I've seen once, I think.
Yeah.
You remember that?
I do. You're like, oh, he does get mad.
No, I was like, Daddy, don't hit Mom. Daddy. I was trying to make jokes, but you were mad, man.
Yeah, no, I get it. They bring out the best in me. I'm a nice boy, but yeah, don't prod the lion. You might get.
It's more of a young lion, very young.
Kitty cat.
Yeah. So and then I wanted to be fired, but I didn't want to. I didn't want to quit because I didn't have a plan B. And then he fired me because he knew that I wanted to be fired because I wasn't doing the job. And after that, I left the company. I had no money. I usually don't have money. It's I have access to money, but
you own a bunch of coffee shops. I know.
Yeah, I have no money. And then
we'll talk about that later.
The customers started to call me, and they're like, "Hey, you left the company. They're sending the technicians. They don't know how to fix machines. Do you want to come and fix?" And I was like, yeah, I need money. I need to pay rent. So that's how I almost was forced to go out, fix the washing machines and the laundromats and etc. And then they would pay me and I would buy food.
So there's a much different experience for an immigrant in the U.S. I know because I have several that work for me versus somebody like me who, grew up in the U.S. and, decent foundation and backup. How does that affect your decision making? I mean, it's like there's no backup, right?
Yeah, I never had it. My father died when I was 12, so I'm the only backup. So even if I was back in my country, I would be fucked anyways. I don't even know what do you mean by backup? Like, what is it?
Yeah. I mean, like, for instance, like if I lost everything, if I just absolutely lost everything, my father owns a house. My parents are, they've been divorced for 35 years, but my father owns a house. My mother owns a house. Mm-hmm. If I was just like up Schitt's Creek and lost everything, I could crawl home and I would have a place to sleep and they would feed me and I would have the time and the opportunity to get back on my feet. like almost no, as long as I had like my fingers and toes and like on my facility. Yeah.
I had the same situation because, see, I was lucky that I had a car. I had to sleep in the car until I could afford a house. So that's a good backup.
How long did you sleep in the car for?
Oh, I got kicked out of the apartment in, I think, May, and I got the place in September. So like good 4 months.
And this was in New York?
Oh yeah, big time. I mean, any other place you can afford a house. Like I could buy a house for like, I don't know, $1,000. Even something.
Can't buy in Texas anymore. Texas is exploding.
Where in Texas?
Yeah, where? Right.
Yeah, I've lived in places that
No problem.
Me. Yeah, trust me. Who can still afford?
That's a much different perspective than I think like most Americans have. I think most Americans, although there's a small percentage that have similar stories to you, but
have you talked to my shrink? Because like we're talking about my insecurities right now. I am afraid to be homeless, like big time.
Well, okay, this is my point. As far as a motivator for like later on down the road, success in business, it requires a certain drive, and that's why this show has totally evolved into conversations about fighting. My experience training MMA with guys that go in, professionals and high-level amateurs, and they put you in the fucking cage and they shut the door behind you, and you have to claw your fucking way out of there. There's no backup. Like your coaches are ringside. There's nothing they can do for you. You're the one that gets knocked out. You're the one that gets your arm snapped. You're the one that gets choked unconscious. So like you're responsible and 100% accountable for like all of your success and all your failures. And I know this country in particular has created this bubble, this false reality for so many people that want to be entrepreneurs and like business owners and self-employed, that they don't understand. They don't have that like, I don't want to be homeless, so this has to fucking succeed drive in them. I mean, I'm even talking about like my generation. We're talking about like Gen Xers, and I don't know what like fucking millennials. What are they made out of? Fucking paper mache.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, but you were an immigrant. It's different.
Hey, now.
No, I mean as a compliment. I mean it's the same when I talk to Ish and Omar about their experiences here and why those guys. I mean, when we first opened here 7 years ago, I had fucking 30 employees, in the kitchen and
that kitchen.
Yeah, like there were a lot of people. Well, and I had the place across the street too, and I swapped them.
Nice, fine coffee shop now.
We were a quipery. We made quips.
See, I think
Well, let me finish my thought. Like, out of all the people that I ran through this place, those were the two that rose to the top, and nobody had quite the story that they did. Like some of them, some of them were minorities, but they lived in the States and they just didn't have the drive. Some of them were just like,
Omar are both.
They're all, they check it out. They're not gay. So that's the only like affirmative action thing the box they don't check. But yeah, those dudes grew up hard and they have such drive and like, they're just grateful for an opportunity, like any opportunity where so many other people needed so many things. I'm like, oh, do you want some Evian water in your green room too? Like, motherfucker, this is a restaurant. This is work. This is not. I mean, I know we perform and I'm famous and everything, but it's not. It's not the same.
Let me ask you a question. Do Ish and Omar fight? Like, pay money and go on like when they close the door and then fight? Do they put themselves in that position where
Military,
they know how to.
Military was mandatory for them as kids.
Right. Same in Uzbekistan.
And they beyond that, even just like daily living was a scrap.
Here, do they fight in America?
No,
unless they have to.
Unless they have to.
See, that's my fucking point.
No, I get it.
That's why I don't want to fight. We've done our part.
But do you know why I fight daily?
Because you were not born there.
I didn't have to. Yes. But I'm like, this is manly shit. This is what separates the men from the boys. and the other stuffs, the other men that have sex with men, according to the New York State
Why
Department
are
of
you
Health.
bringing sex? What is this?
We're just getting started, bro. We talked about sprinkling our seed across the. You remember the sound?
Not our seed, your seed. I want to keep my seed to myself. I like it that way.
Up until glass number 8. And then
were you
he
there?
miraculously wants to share his seed with Elon Musk.
No, not use Elon. I
You-
think
you'd fuck him if
he has enough.
You
seeds
fuck
to
him
share.
if you got the opportunity. I would too. I'm like, he's cute.
Why are you talking from my point? I wouldn't fuck him at any. Like, I would talk to him. Like, if I see him on the street, like, usually I don't bother anybody. If I see him, I have questions. I would ask him. You, if you see him on the street, you would want to fuck him. That's a
I wouldn't even
difference.
talk to him.
You would
I
just
wouldn't
go
even talk to
straight
him. I'd be
to
like,
fucking.
I'd fight him. I'd take him down. I'd do a double leg on the street and mount him just to see what he
Have
would
you
do.
seen him from his vacation?
No,
Like,
I'd
he's
be- I'd
pale.
get
I don't
killed.
think he fights.
I get killed by his bodyguards. You know, there's a jiu-jitsu meme about fighting a bear, and it's like, step 1, duck down, take him down. Step 2, get to the back, choke him out. Step 3, step 5, realize you fucked up at step 1. You're fighting a bear and you're dead. It's like what it would be like trying to.
Could be one of those jiu-jitsu memes.
There's other ones. They might explain monkeypox.
Could be. You guys the problem. That's why we have another pandemic
We
now.
found the source.
The first
We
one was Wuhan.
Found
The second
source.
one was Henzo's in Manhattan.
30th Street between 7th and 8th. Sorry.
Is this show sponsored by them?
Yes. Oh, Enzo would love this shit. He's not afraid of anything. Another immigrant that just like killed it. So
Let me ask you this then.
Yeah.
Why all the immigrants kill it in America while you guys not so much?
because everybody's soft here. There are so many people. You listen to somebody like Gary Vaynerchuk talk, when he
Yeah.
gives out all this advice and everything, and people are like, "Oh, if this is such great advice, why are you sharing it for free?" And he'll say, "Because 98% of you won't move a finger, and the 2% of you that do, you deserve it." It's just nobody wants it. Nobody has the drive because look at how much money was given out. Look at how many people got to stay home. Did you get to work from home?
No.
I did not either. Look at how many people got to work from home. Look at how many people got government checks that exceeded their previous salary to sit at home for 18 months. This country has created weakness, just like so much weakness and so much lack of drive. I somehow definitely partly due to jiu-jitsu, partly due to my upbringing, like I managed to like get it somewhere in like my mid-30s. I mean, I talked to like my old boss and he's like, "No, you always had it. You were just confused and high, like just like fucking off and doing silly shit." And but it was always in there. It was obvious when you work. Like this is the things he tells me these days. Like my passion was always there, but now I've been able to put it into like tangible, real world, almost like a system, and I understand it. But I had to figure it out, and I was much older. Where some of you guys come in and you're just like you're ready to go. I want you to talk about like some of the fucking things you had to do to build from like 2 shops to 8 shops during a pandemic when like everybody else was like running into the turtle shell. You were like, fuck it, let's go.
I want to make a point about America. I don't think you're necessarily right that we're making soft people. America creates this...
You're not American, so I don't have to listen.
I'm a citizen. Fuck you.
Since when?
2018? 17? Something.
Doesn't count.
Right after Donald Trump became president, I was like, "Oh, you know what? Fuck this shit. I gotta solidify my fucking space in this place." And I signed up for the citizenship.
So you're a Republican.
No, fuck you.
No, I don't care. There's no judgment on this show.
No. America gives you like, do you want to live a 9-to-5 job, 401k, you work, you go to vacations.
I hear those
twice a
are
year.
really great right now.
Yeah. Then there is an opportunity for you. do you want to create? Do you want to hustle and then do something else? There's opportunity for you too. I think that's when it depends on what type of life you want to have. I know I have friends who do 9 to 5 and like they're immigrants. They came and they was like, okay, this is the life I want to choose, and they chose, and then they're doing fine. They're doing actually great. Most of the time better than me. This is something that if you look at all the startups, if you look at all the technology that the United States produces, we are still number one in that. People try to, I'm talking about the other countries. Like if you take,
Even over China?
even with China, I think one of the two companies that I admire in Chinese tech industry is Alibaba, that is somehow copy of Amazon and eBay combined, and TikTok. But then
I love TikTok.
No, yeah, you live there. But then if you look at what America produces every day, everything. And since we brought it up, now that I'm the citizen of the United States, I travel now. I get to go on the other side of the border. Still is like there are some places that I would want to retire. There are some places that I want to spend more than 1 week. There's not a single place that I want to live except here. And I go in the United States, I go to different states, and I'm like, it's still New York.
Oh yeah, I mean, if you're in the U.S., once you live in New York, unless you're soft, you don't want to leave.
Who are we talking about here? Like, it sounds like it's personal. I've never met.
I got some names. No,
I've never met someone soft. I think it's a choice, and then this is what America is about. You have choices, and some people choose to be soft. You may not like them, but they vote. So
I don't care one way or the other. I'm concerned about the disconnect in people's desires and their tactics and strategies. So they say, this is what I want, and then they do these things that don't lead to that at all. And success in business doesn't offer that luxury, especially if you're in something like the food industry, right? And so scrappy, and we like live day to day. And
yeah, I think, there's this, I understand what you're saying, but still, the United States is a place where all of that is possible. Earlier we talked about my father who created his first private corporation in Samarkand, but later in the late 90s, he was put in prison. And I've went to prisons and I've seen that, and most of it is unnecessary. Like everybody in that country wants to live a good life. And most of the tough guys that I've seen just want to be soft. Perhaps they can't because, failed government, failed policies for years created this unhealthy, toxic environment. I know a lot of people sympathize to Russia right now, but I don't know anyone who wants to go back to Russia and live there. They're like, Putin is tough. Putin, he's standing up for the whole Europe. Yes, but the whole country is suffering.
Yeah.
So they have to be tough to afford food. I have had days that I didn't have meat for months. Didn't have meat. That's why I'm vegan now. It's so much easier now.
That's self-inflicted, my friend. You did that to yourself.
But
there's meat. Right, I got some right here.
I think what the United States creates is that it gives you that option. You want to do that, pursue it. If you want to be happy in the process, please be. If not, then it's you. This is the grounds. That's my point for whatever you were talking about. You were talking about shit about my country, United States. You are. But why you wanted to open so many coffee shops?
You own 8 coffee shops. Calm down. You don't own the country yet.
I'm the part of this country now. I believe in this country. I think we're gonna do fine.
Yeah, no, I mean, fuck it. Not for nothing. It's amazing.
Yeah, you were born here, so it's not.
Yeah.
But it's amazing. Really.
It is. Yeah. Right.
Why I did 8 coffee shops was in February of 2020. Me and my wife, she was pregnant. I wasn't pregnant, but I like to say we were pregnant. And all my life, in America, I was like, if this thing doesn't work out, I can always restart. I can always reboot. It's easier.
Here.
No, it's general when you don't have a child. When you like, it's easier to reboot.
I can't remember. It's been so long.
But it's they're fine. The idea, I always wanted to have a child, and the idea that I'm going to have a child and then the fucking pandemic happens, and all my businesses that I had before, I had a service business, I had dry cleaners, they were shitty before, but everything went to shit. And I was like, I have to fucking feed the family now. I can't reboot. You can't reboot the child. You can't tell the child, hey, stay there for 2 more years. Let me get my shit together.
Stop crying.
Yeah.
Anything. Sit down.
And then I was like, all right, let's fucking do this because this is the only thing that I know how to do. You always make fun of that, me not knowing how to make coffee. I know how to drink coffee. I know I can tell the difference. But there's one thing that I know is I know how to build coffee shops. I know how to create a space where you want to come and sit down and spend your time and do things, create, work on your projects and etc. So that's how I knew that I know to do, and let's do that. And then pandemic was actually better times. I'm not big fan of the times that we have right now. Every fucking person decided that they're gonna open a fucking coffee shop now.
You're like, you actually
day.
have to pay rent now? What the fuck? This sucks.
One of my landlords, he was like, you are the strangest guy. You never paid rent on time before the pandemic, and then since the pandemic, you paid always on time. I was like, yes. But it was for me, I knew that I'm going to have a child, and I had to make it work. And there were many days. Last time when we were doing podcasts, actually, I was shit-faced the day before because I was so depressed.
Shocking. Really?
Yeah. It was bad.
I'm pretty sure you were here the night before.
Probably. And then you called me to
I remember.
I was drunk when I was here.
I was not.
For the I know. For the bad reasons. And then the rent was cheap. The landlords, I think, most of my landlords that I have, from 8, I think a good 6 of them, they were like, at least he's gonna give some money for the foreseeable future. We're not gonna get any rent. I think that's why the rent was cheap, and I took advantage of that. Now that I'm in the market, I'm still looking for coffee shops. I'm still trying to expand this thing. I look at some places and I look some other guys renting at the prices. They're not gonna make money. So
yeah, of course. You know that. I mean, people are going back to the way it was like 2019, and I don't know how.
I think it's
they
about
just borrowed, right? They just borrowed and borrowed and borrowed and borrowed, and then when the pandemic hit, and then they were like, "We're not going to make good on this," they just bolted.
Yeah,
they just took off. How many coffee shops? How many places did you get that still had like all the gear and everything inside of it, and like inspired milk in the fridge?
Out of 8, I think 7. One of them I built.
Right.
Because it was empty. But yeah, most of them.
Everything else was like, everything was there.
Yeah.
They just left. They just vacated.
I think most of it, I talk about burnout a lot, but most of it was a burnout. They were probably making money, but they were just tired. I think everybody had a good amount of reset with the pandemic. They were like, life is not just about work. I just want to have some peace time. I just want to enjoy, be present. Most of the coffee shops, some coffee shops just closed down. They were making money, but then they realized it's not worth it.
Yeah, it's not that much money.
Yeah.
Unless you have a bunch of them.
How much is much?
Could be 8, could be 15, could be 100.
It's not 8.
Could be that's not correct. That's not 8. It's not enough. Let's get saucy. Let's get really nasty and talk about like.
Is this how you act on the first? I mean, I know you don't do dates. This is how you do like 2 drinks down?
I just ripped the Band-Aid off. Let's see. Let's get it out of the way now. Yeah, it's like I want to know where this is going. I don't want to put in too much effort if it's not going where I think it's going to go now. You opened. You really started to scale in a pandemic when sales were not like what they are now, and like you just mentioned, there were certain caveats to that where you did like you know, you didn't have to pay your electricity bill on time every month. Then, you know, they just kind of left you alone, and you could, you know, get some elbow room with your rent and everything. But you know, sales were not what they are now, especially in New York City, where it was really hard hit, and people were, you know, still are reluctant to come out at times. It's crazy. Talk about some of the ways you scratched some money together to get through. Let's talk about payroll.
No, I try not to fuck with payroll. It's do you think the feds watch this?
I know
on
you
cash.
think I'm famous, but I'm not.
I
I
had
got 2 viewers so far.
I had most of the stuff on cash for good amount of 2020, for all amount of 2020 and 2021. We are on payroll now, but Logan loves it. But I would like just call Logan. I was like, I'm not paying your bill this week. And he was like, what do you mean? I'm like,
I still do that shit.
And one of the, I think, best things about 2020 as to its scaling was that you did not need much.
Right.
Because all these coffee shops that were coffee shops for 10 years, like, you know, Prospect Park West was Brunswick, and then I think it was something before that, but it was there for years and it was available. And I did not have money, but I would just pass by every day because I would just on my way home. And I'm like, I need this. And I was like, fine, fuck it, I'm going to call, see what they want. And they just wanted like 2 months deposit. And I would call Logan. I was like, Logan, I need machines. And he was like, I don't have machines. I'm like, I need machines. There's a space. I need fucking machines. And it was basically me not paying, like you said, the electricity bill for 2 weeks. You know, garbage company wouldn't pick up the garbage. And I would be like, oh, this fucking guy is not picking up garbage. But at the end of the day, I didn't pay the bill. That's why they didn't pick the garbage. And that's how I did it. Good amount of 2020 and 2021. I knew if I take these spots, if I have the good lease, it's not months to months, if it's at least 5 years, I knew the pandemic will be over. There was a time in April of 2020 that I knew maybe the pandemic is not going to be over. But after that, I was like, I just need to sit it out. And the pandemic is semi-over. We don't talk about it anymore, but that was it. It was just,
we got monkeypox to worry about.
Let's wait until the midterms. I think the monkeypox is going to disappear after that.
I don't know. There's those other men out there.
The other pox.
Okay, good, juicy details. A couple other questions. What do the flowers represent for you? All of your shops have a lot of flowers. What does that mean? Why? You do a few very specific things that I'm curious about.
I like spring. Spring is fun time. I think Uzbekistan is in the same altitude as New York as far as weather goes. So we get hot summers. We get a little more over springtime than in New York, but then
New York doesn't get spring. It's rain and then it's fucking hot, and that's it.
No, we did have like the whole June was fun this year.
I don't remember.
You were the drunk.
No, I just blacked it out.
I like spring. It just gives that whatever you do, it doesn't matter everything. It just rejuvenates. It's just like all you need is just that winter time when you take it easier, and then you can blossom again. You can open again. And like I mentioned earlier, my father died when I was 12. My uncle, he is a good. I don't know we call it bourbon, but I don't know the word in English. Someone who likes plants.
There's a number of different. It depends on what kind of plants.
We don't do weed. No,
there was the heifers.
No, he don't do weed. if weed you're talking about, no, he don't do that. No, and then he.
But there's like botanists. There's horticulturalists. There's a number of different names.
I like the first one. What was that?
Botanist.
Yeah,
the botanist.
That exactly.
It's a name of a gin too. It's got a lot of botanicals in it.
Yeah,
because it's got a lot of plants in it. The botanist.
My uncle in Uzbekistan, he has this what's called greenhouses.
Yeah.
So he has greenhouses. He grows lemon.
We also call them gardeners.
Oh, that's
farmers.
He don't do farming. I don't think he does farming, but he grows stuff that's not supposed to grow in that altitude. But he still makes it happen.
Let's grow in that heaps.
The heaps grow in Uzbekistan regardless. We invented that.
That's just like ground zero, right? I know.
We invented
I'm gonna move to that motherfucker.
By the way, welcome.
You know what? I might move to Uzbekistan and open a bunch of coffee shops.
Good luck. You might as well have fun and more success opening
and I'm gonna
English classes.
I'm gonna call it Parviziy.
Nah.
Parviziy coffee.
And he when you grow up without a father, you always look for a father figure, and I found my father figure in him. And he would always look after the plants. He has shitload of plants, like it's a lot.
He's got a lot of heaps, don't he?
No
I need to talk to this guy.
No heaps. He don't do heaps.
Gonna start a new business. You know, it's just legal in New York now.
He's coming. He's coming to America. I'll introduce you guys. I'll be the translator. I'm gonna be the filter.
I'm about to get rich. I'll be like, shit.
Long last.
Yeah. Finally.
He taught me
we
to love plants.
Be a new level of burnout.
This podcast is about your guests. It's about you. I'm trying to answer the questions that you ask.
I'm the local Joe Rogan. It's always about me. Carry on.
On to the plants. And he taught me that plants are something like, even though they don't talk, I think,
heaps talk.
You want to talk about heaps? So it's basically him. And
on our next episode, we're gonna smoke.
I don't smoke that much.
I don't care. You can do it anyway.
I don't smoke that much.
He's like, I don't eat meat. I'm vegan. I don't eat meat that much. Did you eat meat yesterday?
Yes,
yeah.
I did. It was vegan. It was heavenly.
We gonna get high next time.
It was heavenly. It was good. It was good.
Oh, dude, that meat, that stuff. What's it called again?
Shashlik?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was fun. Remember I cooked all of it?
Oh God. That chicken. So that day we didn't eat the chicken because we just made between you and me, we cooked. This is on the 4th of July, just passed. We cooked about 60 pounds of meat that day. And there were like 25 people here through the course of the day, but still there was so much left there. We didn't touch the chicken, and it was in just a container in the fridge the next day, and Omar and I pulled it out, and I was like, I don't know, man, it might be dry. We threw that shit in the oven. Oh my God. Like, I said to Omar, I was like, bro, did you eat that chicken? He goes, oh my God, it was so good. I was like, and he don't get excited much. He was like, whoa. Like, I was like, man, that chicken was good.
I went to my relative's house the other day, and then usually when we get together, we cook shashlik. But now that I'm vegan, and I was like, well, I still have to keep up the tradition. And I go, and I'm like, cook it. And they were like, oh, this is amazing. But then, why you don't eat? I'm like,
I will be your stunt mouth anytime when you're like, I will cook it, but I need someone to eat it. Like, I got you. Yeah. Just call me.
Just for that?
Yeah.
Just for eating?
Just for that.
Oh, okay.
Yes. I'm not Elon.
I just want to. What's up with you putting shit so much on Elon today? What did he do? Did he have a baby he didn't tell you about?
No, I mean, he caused Twitter stocks to dump after you and I bought like $1,000 each.
But then he sells his stocks.
I know, I'm like, fuck.
But I still make money on Twitter right now.
I'm like down like $10.
Oh.
I'm almost back even again, but I'm like, dude, you fucked me. No, we just.
That's what every the woman he have babies with says.
This is why I'm mad. Hey, fuck me, and I don't even have a kid.
You didn't even like the process.
I didn't get a baby Elon. If I had a baby Elon, I'd sell him on eBay and make that money back.
Imagine, I would babysit. I know how to babysit. It would be so much fun.
Get that damn car out of my backyard, babysit my ass. Okay,
it's good there.
You answer my flower question. Why?
You didn't let me answer, but yeah, semi.
Semi.
I answered kind of.
Talking about Elon again. No, I mean you answered. I mean I've noticed some of your shops have pictures of your family.
Oh yeah.
So it's clear that it's important to you. And then the next one is like, why poetry? Why your brand is Poetica Coffee? the poetry in coffee.
Not the way you say it. It's poetry.
That's what it sounds like. I'm sorry. Like everybody says
No, it
that.
sounds like poetry of coffee.
The poetry in coffee.
Yeah. No, without.
Yeah, no, you
You remember that movie?
Everybody
This
does.
is not gangster. This is not gangster.
Exactly.
My grandparents were poets from both sides, from my father and my mother's side. And I'm not a poet, as you know, because of all the fucking languages I was forced to learn.
Around glass 8, you start to rhyme a little bit, and then it just
off it goes. I always fascinated with storytelling. I think what us as animals, I believe in evolution, spoiler, us animals, what makes us different than pretty much most of the animal world is that we know how to tell stories, and everything that we do tells a story, regardless. There's like distinction of, oh, this is someone who does art and then this is a business. No, even like if you look at all the businessmen, like all the ones that we admire, they are storytellers themselves. They telling their stories, but with different things. Most of the art people are broke most of their lives. Business people have figured out how to make money in the process. In the process. Poetry fascinates me. Since I speak more than one language, I know poetry in...
Oh, you speak Portuguese? Right?
No.
Oh,
You speak Portuguese. You don't know about it, but you do.
just say the dirty words and replace the R's.
That's how you start.
Replace the R's with H's. That's it.
Yeah, that's how it starts. And then the poetry fascinates me in every language. I speak fluent Russian. I speak fluent Tajik, Uzbek, and English. Work in progress.
Fucking gardener.
Fucking gardener. It took your time.
I really strung you along on that one. Fucking botanist.
And then the other word that you said.
I worked at this restaurant in Lower Manhattan like 15 years ago, and most of the staff was Mexican, Central and South American, and of course there were a handful of like Romanians and Serbians and shit there too. And there was zucchini on the menu, and one of the Mexican busboys was at the table, and the table, they were from Europe or something, and they were struggling to translate, and they kept saying like, how do you say this word? Because zucchini looks weird, when you're looking at it. And he comes over and he's like, yo, how do you say this word? And I was like, zucchini. And he goes, no. I'm like, no. He's like, you're fucking with me. I'm like, bro, I'm American. Like, how are you going to question me? It's fucking zucchini. And he goes to the table and he says this. And they're all like, oh. And we're dying laughing. Even the other Mexicans knew that it was wrong, like.
No, senor, that's not how you say it.
That one's for you, Isak, because he fucked me a bunch. He did a bunch of like nasty shit to me, but we had fun. We had a good time.
Okay,
back to your story.
I want to know how he fucked you, and you have good time.
He just was always like, he just would always fuck with me, man. He would like fuck with my orders and my tables.
See, English is not my mother tongue, but tell me, there's a difference between fuck with me and fuck me, right? And have a good time afterwards.
In like Mexican slang, they say chinga a lot. That's like fuck, and then the way it's used is like, yeah, you fucked me. You fucked me, bro. And then it's like, no, I fucked her. I fucked her good. Like it could be a different thing. And then if it's Ish struggles with this too. When he gets mad, this is so funny. He gets like, if he's in an altercation and like, it gets tense. He's a big dude, he rouses and he's like, you will know. I will fuck your ass. You will know. Like everybody's like, the dude's like, no, man, I don't want none of this no more. Hey, now don't flirt. He's from the Mandingo tribe. They're like, no, man, I'm good.
No, it's like, because this is one of the funny parts, because what happens is like when you have all these languages, they mix up. And then the fuck in English is such a weird...
It's a great word. It's my favorite word in the English
language.
I
know, but then... One time I was in line somewhere buying food, like Subway or something, and then a lady in front of me, it was just like second or third year in America. Lady in front of me, she ordered her stuff. Now she has to pay. She forgot her card, and then she goes like, "Oh fuck me!" I'm just like,
now
is this gonna happen now? Do you want me to volunteer? I'm happy to volunteer. Like, what is this? Because in Russian it's bled. and it's the translation is a prostitute. But then if you like nailing something, not nailing in English, but like nailing actual nail into the wall, and then you hit your finger, you say blah. You know, like it's like
Yeah.
It makes sense.
I get it.
But the whole fucked me, then I had a good time. Not so much. It makes me picture things. I'm
Elon.
not sure. I'm not sure if I want to picture.
Back to poetry.
Yes. So the poetry part. I was fascinated with poetry and everything. And even if you think about coffee, you know, a farmer grows the coffee, then it's put in the bags, and then it's put in the containers. So many different metrics of the whole world is involved. And then it comes to the United States, and then somebody roasts it. In our case, it's Logan. He just goes every night, roasts the coffee, puts them in the little bags, and then you grind it, and then you build these beautiful Poetica locations that you want to go to and have coffee. And you have a barista who has his own story to tell. And then the way they say it is in between making the drinks. So like, hey, you know, I'm in the midst of this. I'm trying to do this. And it all comes down to this just one cup. Like it's months and months of work, so many different people involved. And then all comes down, and it's just this beautiful thing, just like poetry. You take, like, you know, if you look at the good poems, today I woke up, I had a bad day or I had a good day, I was sad, but then they will like go in depth, take these words that you know, but then somehow this poetry like rings to your soul. And that's why I wanted to have that kind of poetry in coffee.
It's fucking beautiful, man. That shit was mad gay, but anyways.
What's this homophobic stuff that you do?
The other
Is
men.
this American?
It's the other men that are causing the monkeypox. That's what it's about. Damn it, they're gonna fuck with my jujitsu, and I'll get mad then.
Then fuck you up, and then you have a good time.
I will fuck them. You will see. You will know.
When I fuck them, they taste my sweat. That's how it goes.
It is. It's exactly how it goes. Lastly, what's next? I mean, you've gotten to the point where you have 8 stores now. You've got a good system going. You've actually learned to make coffee. I feel
Surprising.
like it's
Are you proud of me?
Time to retire. No, I'm actually ashamed.
Why?
You
were supposed to be proud. What's this?
You're gonna end up like me. That's why you learned coffee. I learned to bartend, and it's my Achilles heel.
That's what it happened.
Just when you're thinking about, they suck you back in. Now
you must have wondered, why am I doing this?
Now you can't leave. You've expressed some interest in investment real estate just this week. What are some other things?
No, that was my ultimate fantasy.
Where will you go? I thought it was Elon.
Oh, fuck you. Do you want his Twitter handle? Like I can put you guys together in the same group chat.
Of this, really? I told you. He watches the show. He follows me on Twitter.
Seems like you want that pale white South African.
I just want to taste that African meat.
Yak.
A goonie goo goo. No, what you're young. You're doing. You know, you're light years ahead of me. You know, I didn't. I guess I was 31 when I really took my first dive into like a location, you know, and you've got 8 at the same age. So what you've got other interests? What else? You know, where would you like to take this? You in some strange way you fascinate me.
Am I your Elon?
That's really the foundation of it. But like
that's where you're going. That's how you flirt. Okay.
I bring you on the show.
You make me jealous first. Well,
it's only falling into my trap. That was the jujitsu.
No. The jujitsu tricks works on.
You're gonna taste my sweat before long.
No, I say no. Coffee market in New York is a weird place right now.
New York is a weird place right now.
New York has been weird in a good way most of the time, but specifically with coffee right now, like I said earlier, it's like everybody fucking opens a coffee shop. So, and I think in most parts it's just like weird. You can have, 500 bars in one block. Fine, because bars are not about drinks, but about vibes. Like,
It's about drinks too.
I don't know. I drink. I don't do drinks. I do like, straight ups. But opening, for example, like everybody, there is a coffee shop every week somewhere, and then since we have 8 locations, there's some coffee shop opening next to us, and then every time I'm looking like, okay, fine, now we both not going to make money here, which is
Are
stupid.
you talking about anybody in particular?
I got a few names, and I think this is weird, but there is going to be, for the next, I think, year or so, there's going to be like coffee shop bubble, just like the bubble tea bubble was before 2020.
Yeah.
It's going to blow up. Everybody going to realize that the coffee shop actually has to make money to make sense. And most of the coffee shops are going to close down, and then the good ones is going to stay. Poetica is going to stay. The real estate, I always wanted, I told you, I have major PTSD from my homeless times. I do not want to go back there into the car.
I mean, you have a Tesla now. It wouldn't be bad.
You know how
sleeping in that.
uncomfortable to sleep inside the Tesla?
No, I've never. I've driven yours a few times around the neighborhood.
No, it's not good. I like the bed. I like the bed, the perfect temperature in the room.
With Elon.
Tell it. What's wrong with you today?
I'm on fire, bro. It was the Prosecco.
Yeah, I could tell. The real estate part, I always wanted to have real estate. I think real estate is essentially, at all times, if you think about the history of humankind, all the wars, so many people dying, and then kings sacrificing everything just to get more real estate, really. Real estate, even in America, you never own anything. It is owned by the big brother.
Yeah.
But still, I think I'm going to have more free time in the next year or so. I would like to explore the real estate. I want to see if it's something that I want to do. Maybe it's something that I don't want to do. But I want to do that. As far as Poetica goes, we have a couple of projects that are pending. I want to do international. I want to do Japan.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love Japan. It's amazing. We should go there. You're gonna love Japan too.
And why not Tuscany too?
Tuscany's fun.
I don't think there's much coffee in Italy. Maybe there's not.
Oh, Maroni.
My boy next door was like, "You ever thought about opening in Italy? I think they need some pasta there." And I was like,
everything is amazing. Yeah. But when you go to Italy, like, I want to retire there, but I don't want to like grow there. I don't think
you don't want to make coffee there.
I
heard Elon likes Italy.
Elon again. Have you ever had a dream about Elon? Like,
no, not yet. I have not.
I think
graduated
today's the
day.
Right?
He's gonna come visit me. You watch. He's gonna follow me on Twitter by the end of the day.
Hello, Jeremiah. Do you want to have some Elon?
Just sweat in my mouth. Let's call it a day.
And you'd be like,
that much
I usually have sweat in my mouth, but what do you have to offer?
I would have twins anyways. I'm old.
Do you want to have more kids?
I don't. Or more restaurants.
Why not?
Because I'm burnt out.
Oh, now you say it. I've been telling you this for 2 years.
Just for your satisfaction. I just wanted to see you get inspired. You know what I want to do? I want to open martial arts academies and scale that.
Mm-hmm.
I still want to have some involvement in it. It'd be negligent of me to not have some investment in the food and beverage industry after all this time. But yeah, we're talking like, is it 30 years? No, not quite. Almost. Oh yeah, no, it's been 30 years. 30 years in the food and beverage industry.
So you work since you're 15?
Yeah, started at 14. Yeah, like working in like.
You had a very hard childhood. for American.
No, I just
for white boy.
No, right? I just hated like living at my parents' place so much. I lived with my mom, and God bless her, I love her. I didn't like living there at that time, and work was my freedom. I knew like I was never going to be able to stand on my own 2 feet if I didn't make money. And they taught me how to work young. Like I worked for my grandfather when I was pretty young, starting at like 12 years old. And this dude lived to 96, and he worked up until the day he died. Like he retired and just like got up every day like he had work to do, and he had his wood shop, and he would just like kept going. And he created markets for himself, and opportunities for himself. So I had that, and it was just about freedom, and being able to do my own thing. And restaurants with this is early 90s, they'd give you cash to come in and like wash dishes and take out the trash and clean the grease traps and shit like that. That's where I started, and I was a good worker. I was kind of smart back then, and they would.
Then what happened?
He first.
I have another question then.
Drugs and alcohol.
Mushrooms?
Definitely. Shit, we did paper LSD back then.
I remember that 5-hour lecture you and Vinny gave me about mushrooms. I just asked one question. I have another question. Like you worked for other restaurants, you ran restaurants, but they weren't your own. Do you think you're a better boss than all the bosses that you had?
No, I mean, I still look up to several of my old bosses. There are guys that have evolved so much, and there's still so much to learn from them. I'm happy with the boss that I became. I feel like I distilled.
Of course you are.
No, but I mean, in a real sense, I was very conscious about distilling out some of the practices that I disliked about many of my bosses, even the ones that I still look up to. They did things back then that I was like, I don't ever want to be like this. And the feedback from my employees is that I've gotten rid of those elements. And my retention rate is high. I mean, up until the pandemic, I had people that had worked for me for 5 years. Like most of my staff from day one was still here, and that's like astonishing for the restaurant industry. Most people last less than 2 years. So the fact that 70% of my staff in March of 2020 had been here since opening day, going on 5 years, is a testament that I'm a good boss.
Yeah, no, this is.
I'm a natural leader. I can't help it.
I don't like to ask kiss, and I don't think if there would be an ask that I want to kiss, it would be yours. But when I come here, I see you on but every time when I come here, I see, because I'm all about non-toxic workplaces. You don't have that, and then this is like
I have like the healthy toxicity. There's like you need like a like the microbiome in your intestines and everything. If it's super sanitary, like that's bad.
Mm-hmm.
You have to have like you need a little bit of like.
That's why you want Elon. You want the toxicity.
Might be too much. Your boy is wild sometimes. He's just like, I'm gonna buy Twitter.
No, it's not like that. Twitter?
Yeah,
Did you say
exactly.
Twitter? How much? Oh my god. Hold on, Mom. I have a second line.
I've got a few new employees since people are starting to come out of their shell now, and they're like, you push the envelope, but you never take it too far. I'm very aware of the line. So I like it. I like it to be a little bit edgy. I don't want to create this super soft environment. I want people to have a thick enough skin, because it is the restaurant industry. Like customers are going to come at you. Like there's so many things that are going to happen. It's a volatile environment, and if it's too, like these, startup places, VC companies, and everybody's just like soft. You can't say anything, can't do anything. Fuck them. Like you know.
Well, I know.
I'm not into that. I think there needs to be a healthy microbiome. So I keep it, just toxic enough. But it's like I have mainly women working for me now, and my wife and my 3 daughters are here almost daily, and they're like, okay, he's like not a dirtbag. You know, he can't be.
Most of the time, no.
There's no, yeah, not only to the boys.
Yeah.
No. If I ever got like a sexual harassment claim, it would be like one male employee from like 4 years ago, and like I'd never like touched him or anything like that. But it just
Did you want?
no. I'm not like I was not the other men's. I roll around on the ground scantily dressed with men all the time, but it is not sexual in any way.
You're right.
But if Elon comes to class,
again, here we go again.
no, but it was just a joke, and he did not laugh, and I was like, oh, this might be the one.
This is the one.
This is what's gonna take me down.
This is it.
I was just like, no, man, I was just playing, but no, I did not touch. There was no.
That's good.
Yeah.
Maybe that saved you.
Do not want to touch boys like that.
If you did, maybe you would be on the sex offender list by now. That'd be nice. Getting a letter every time you move.
No.
Well, I think one of the if you look about what makes one company successful and then not successful, I think is.
Do you want a job?
No. For you, no.
I need a barista.
I have enough of Elon Musk in my life. All my stocks are pretty much in his companies. So.
I've seen.
Yeah. But I think one of the important things is to, when you create a business, is to create a non-toxic, like as much as you can. Like you can play, perhaps. I don't participate in the daily operation of the coffee shops. I have team leaders, they have their own chemistry. But what I realized is that sometimes you have a team leader that is not really, keeping it, toxic free. And then you go, oh, okay, what's going on here? What do I smell in the air? And then this is a challenging thing. I think you can scale, but there are certain things that if you don't pay attention to it, it's just gonna go out of control.
Well, we've talked about it. I mean, you have to scale like your recipes and your procedures for like making things, but you have to also scale your responses to the human factor of your businesses, whether it's internal or external, whether you're dealing with customers, especially if you're going to be more of a hands-off employer. So that's for that kids, the ones at home listening that want to open, maybe put up a shingle, maybe do some stuff.
First of all, don't open. let me give you business 101. Don't.
I love it when people they call me and they're like, "Yo, man, I'm thinking about opening a restaurant." And I'm like, "Yeah, don't." And they're like, "What?" Like that's not what they thought they were.
Thanks to listening to my TED talk. This was it.
You could send a check too. Yeah, I'm like, don't. But if you're going to, the human factor is a huge component of it. Like, it's not as simple as like, oh, I know how to make coffee. It's not. That's the easy part, dealing with people. But I don't like drama, or like try to keep everything drama free. I think that's a big deal. The definition of toxicity keeps changing. What was toxic even 2 years ago. It's like there's like 17 more definitions for it now, and I'm like, all right, you can keep labeling stuff like that, but I think really important is keeping things drama free and keeping your eye on the prize. Like, what are we all here for? We're here for certain levels of success that lead to money that can give you a better life. It doesn't solve all things, but it can solve many things.
Oh yeah, big time. And one other thing is that I always think about, like if you wake up and say, fuck, I have to work today, maybe you're not in the right workplace. Yeah. Maybe you should consider, if you're in power of changing that attitude, maybe you should.
Maybe you want to bartend instead.
I always wanted to bartend. It would be fun. But I think like I would just drink.
You in a bar.
Yeah.
Trouble.
Yeah.
I've been there.
I'd probably drink most of the time and like giving free drinks and everything.
So, in the beginning,
God created heaven and earth. And on the first day, he said, let there be light.
And with that,
he created heaven and earth in darkness. just like every business has ever been created in darkness.
Just like coffee.
If you like it that way, yes.
And you know I like the Africans. All right, we're going to sign off. This has been so much fun. Thank you again for coming on. And we'll do the follow-up when you completely fail. When like everything goes to shit and you're living in your car again. We'll do it from your Tesla and we'll smoke some weed.
Will it have charge? Can it have charge? Because it's summer.
We're going to need it. I'm going to need Wi-Fi.
Definitely.
We can just do it from a little screen. I don't even have to bring my laptop.
Yeah, it has a camera now. It works now. It records you.
You watch when I'm driving your car. When I go in the back seat, they pull up those pictures.
You know, in Uzbekistan, it's still illegal to be gay, and then you're talking all these. You know, I can get killed there if I go back.
That's the goal.
You want me to get
I'm going to take over your empire. The follow-up show will be like how Jeremiah acquired 8 coffee shops with no money.
No, I think looking back, like years from now, they'll be like, "Oh, Jeremiah, this was his coming out party." This is it.
You gotta just go to a jiu-jitsu class with me. You'll see.
Twice.
All right. We out of here. Thank you all. Thank you, brother.
Peace in the Middle East.
Boom!